And we're joined by Tracy Gray, the incumbent for the former riding of Kelowna Lake Country and now a candidate in this newly drawn riding of Kelowna. Nice tight name on this riding now. You spend a lot of time door knocking, don't you?
I sure do. And I don't just door knock during elections. I door knock year round. So, I might be home on a weekend or maybe during a constituency week, maybe between meetings, and I'll, just go door knock a street and go connect with people. It's a great way to gain feedback. And it's amazing how honest people will be with you when you're at their doorstep and they're in their pajamas.
So, during the course of a campaign, how many houses can you visit?
Well, already, I've hit thousands of doors already, and it's just such a great way to gain feedback. It's one of the most important ways to really hear from people, and I really value going to the doorsteps and hearing what people have on their minds. And so, it's just a matter of reaching as many people as I can during this time and getting as much feedback as I can.
Right. So I guess the most important doors you knock on are those where the person might go either way. Some people have decided there's no way they're going to vote for you. Other ones are already in the bag. But it's those ones who could go either way that are most important, aren't they?
Well, I would say connecting with everyone is important. And honestly, I will ask people all the time at the doors, where they'll say, I'm not sure, or one way or another. And I'll say, well, what's important to you? I'll just ask them, and they will tell me, what's important to them. And then that opens up a conversation.
What do you hear back? What's the issue that's coming at you from the doorstep?
Well, I would say that there's a few that come the most often, and this isn't whether it's at the doors, but it's also when I go out in the community and do outreach at different events, or when I send out my surveys to people's houses. Anyone that has lived in my former riding would see that I send out letters and communication every month, and there's surveys, and literally thousands of people fill those out every month. It's really amazing the feedback that I get. But I would say that most of what I hear from people fall into a few categories. And that includes affordability, crime, addiction and mental health, and then now concerns over the unjustified trade tariffs and dispute that's happening with the United States.
Right. So what's your go-to if you figure I've got I really want to kind of get a convincing issue in front of this person? What do you like to talk about?
Honestly, Kent, it's what they want to talk about. I really genuinely ask them what's important to them. So for some people, it might be, I was just door knocking a lady the other day, and she was talking about crime in her neighborhood and how someone just tried to light her fence on fire the other day. I was at a small business owner's business the other day, and he had concerns over the tariff issues because he wasn't sure if his costs would increase because he does get supplies from the United States. But on the other side, he also just had to spend $30,000 on extra security equipment because of all of the crime that he's had and all of the break-ins that he's had in his business. So for me, it's really just asking people like what's important to you, and I gain that feedback. Another thing that I'm hearing a lot is from farmers because they're trying to get their temporary workers in here, and we know that under the Liberal government that we had a once very well respected immigration system here, and a lot of that has been broken. And how it's trickling down is it's affecting the processing times. And so farmers can't wait to get their workers to prune.
Yeah. It is. I put myself in your shoes and I think, just months ago, it looked like, Poilievre becoming the prime minister was a certainty. And this was a very safe riding. And now it's crazy how much it's changed. And Trump is more menacing than anybody imagined. It's just, I don't know. What do you make of all of it?
Well, the only poll that matters is the poll on election day. And so this is why I'm out in the community trying to connect with as many people as possible. As we're going into this unjustified trade dispute with the United States, Conservatives have been pushing back very, very strong against President Trump and against his comments and against the tariffs that he's imposing. But on the other side, we as Canada, we are coming into this situation in a very weakened position. We have over the last 10 years of the lost decade of the Liberal government, we have lost $500 billion of investment that has left Canada to the United States. We've lost hundreds of thousands of really good paying jobs that have disappeared. We haven't been developing our resources. The opportunities are going to other countries. I'll just give you one example. If you recall, Japan came to Canada a couple of years ago looking for our LNG, our liquefied natural gas. And the Liberal government, Justin Trudeau, turned them away and said, well, we don't have a business case for that. Well, they just signed on with the United States about a month or so ago. So that's just one example of lost opportunities for good paying jobs here in Canada and for our economic prosperity.
Right. You make some good points there. But, I think there's one hesitation that some voters have for voting Conservative is they don't feel that there is enough there to deal with greenhouse gas emissions. What do you say?
Well, what I would say is that we don't want to tax our citizens. We actually believe in green lighting green projects. There are many great projects across the country that have not been greenlit by the current Liberal government. We believe in developing our natural resources in a responsible way. There are needs around the world. And instead, what's happening is other regimes, like China, for example, are building coal-fired plants. Whereas we could be providing our very responsible, like LNG, for example, it comes from much better processing than you have in these other regimes.
Some higher standards than you see.
Well, yes, and human rights standards, environmental standards. We could be displacing a lot of that. There are needs around the world. Another example is the United States was barely in the market of LNG 7 years ago, and now they're one of the largest exporters. So this is lost opportunity for Canada, and we could actually help around the world reduce emissions by supplying our energy.
Right, and even though, LNG, does create greenhouse gas emissions, it quite often takes the place of coal-fired plants, which are worse, right?
Absolutely, and that's what we're referencing. I mean, there has even been, like I referenced, green projects that haven't been greenlit by the current government. Their anti-resource development law, Bill C-69, really has impeded any resource development in the country. And the current Prime Minister Mark Carney has said that he supports Bill C-69. We have said that we need to unleash these opportunities, and also with mines as well. Critical minerals is very important in the green economy, and instead of getting those critical minerals from countries like the regime of China, we should be able to have mines open in Canada. Right now, it could take up to 15 years to open a mine for these critical minerals that we need in the country.
Okay, one last thing. It's weird how Donald Trump has become central to our election, but what do you think of Donald Trump?
Oh, well, I absolutely refute and push back on the comments that he's made about Canada, that he's made with imposing these tariffs. And we need to be a strong country, and we need to push back, but we also need to be sustainable ourselves. We have interprovincial trade barriers that need to be removed that haven't been removed by the current government. That could bring $200 billion of economic benefit to Canada. We should be developing our resources. We should be more sustainable in the country. We shouldn't have policies that impede growing agriculture and impede good-paying jobs that we should have here in Canada, so that people don't have to invest outside of the country. We have higher taxes here. We have more red tape, more bureaucracy that's really impeding Canada, building our economy and being a strong economy.
All right. Terrific. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed this. Can we do it more often if you get reelected?
Whenever it works.
All right.
Whenever it works. Here I am.
Okay. Thanks again, and thank you for watching Kelowna Now.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.